Hi, and welcome to another video by Get It Done Home Repairs. Today we're going to be talking about mounting a television bracket on the wall so we can have the TV mounted on the wall here. You're going to have to do your research to find out which bracket will actually fit the TV that you purchased. But once you determine it, it's a matter of now putting it on the wall and making sure you connect it on there correctly so that it doesn't fall off. Most of the brackets all come with directions such as this. Not that I'm pushing this bracket here. This is just the one that I picked up. It does give you a list of what tools you're going to need right along the bottom of just about any bracket. But this is an example of what you're going to need. You're going to need screwdrivers. We're going to need a ratchet. In this particular case, it's a 1/2-inch socket that we're going to use. A pencil, a stud finder, a ruler or something to measure the wall. You're going to need a level. I used a longer level. The one that they actually show you using is a shorter level, but I'll explain why I used a longer one in a minute. And of course a drill so we can drill into the wall, and the drill bit that they recommend to actually put the bolts directly into the studs. They recommend the 7/32, which is what we're going to use. But we're also going to use a smaller bit like this. I'll explain to you why once I get up there and do it. We're going to actually follow the directions here to assemble the bracket and put the bracket together so that we have it all totally assembled. Like I said, each bracket is going to be a little bit different, but basically this bracket is going to go like this. It pulls away from the wall. We are going to take this bracket here and we're going to mount it on here like this. And once we get this all put together, then we'll come back and I'll show you the procedure to put it up on there. As I said, most of them are all totally different, but this one here is just the one that I chose. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to take out these screws right here. We're going to take our bracket. Make sure that when you put your bracket together, your arrow is facing up here. And if you look in the back of the piece here, you'll see the arrow is facing up there as well. That's the part that needs to go up. All right, we're going to take our bracket, slide it over the top like that. We're going to take our screws, and we're going to catch our screws in the back of the bracket. You take your crossbars, and there's only one way that they go in. This came already installed like this, so we're just going to slide this one into here like this. Now before you tighten one screw, you want to make sure you have them both caught so that you can move it around if you need to. And now we're going to snug these in. Okay, so this is our bracket that we're going to be mounting on the wall. Let me extend it. Okay, so now after we have the bracket assembled, we're going to come up on the wall and we're going to mark where we want the TV mounted. Now you're going to have to do your measurements to figure out where exactly you want to have it mounted. But in this particular case, I want to have the bottom of the TV, I want it 36 inches above the floor. So what we did is we measured up 36 inches, we measured to the middle of the TV, which would be the center of the bracket, and we determined where we're going to put our mark here, which is the center of the bracket. That's where we want the center of the bracket. We're going to deduct off for the length of the TV, and that'll give me the height of where the TV is going to come to. All right, so now what we did is we took our stud finder, to come on the wall here, like this. We're going to find our stud. So we know our stud is there, and you can see I put a mark right there. Now we're going to find the other side of the stud. So now we have our stud marked, the outside edge of the stud here and the outside edge of the stud here. It's very important when you mount the bracket that you make sure you mount the bolt in the center of the beam. You don't want to have the mounting bolt on the edge of a beam because it may not hold tightly. So you want to get in the center of this beam, and then we're going to come over and we're going to center it actually on the next beam over here. We'll find the center of that beam. That's the end of the beam. That's the end of the other beam. As you can see, I put the marks here and here of where the beam is located. So now I know there's a beam here and there's a beam here. I want to put the bolt in the center here and here. Now, after we found where the center of the beams are, we made our mark on the wall where it's going to be. We took our level, put our level on here, made sure we have the TV bracket exactly in the center here. So that we now know that the TV bracket is going to be nice and level. Sometimes when you measure up from the floor or down from the ceiling, there could be a discrepancy, but this will make it nice and level this way here. Next thing we did is we took our bracket, we took the bracket, held it up on the wall where we wanted to mount it, and we put marks on the wall here, 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 and here. And that's where the bracket is going to be mounted. So let me grab my drill, and we'll put them. We're going to drill pilot holes just to make sure we have the beam behind it. Okay, so now that we have our holes where we're going to actually put the lag bolts into the beam, before we drill it with the larger 7/32, we are going to make a small little pilot hole just to confirm that we are in the center of the beam. And you can see it was drilling into the sheetrock nice and easy, and all of a sudden it stopped, so we know we are in the beam. Same thing up here. I can feel that's a beam as well. Right over here, the same thing. I can feel that's a beam. Okay, so now we know that it is in the beam. We are going to take our 7/32 as it calls for in the directions. I just want to point this out to you. These are the bolts that they sent that actually are for this. These are the bolts. So we're going to actually set it so that it's about that depth. We don't want to drill too far, and we don't want to drill far enough. So that's what we're going to do. All right? When you're drilling, hold your hand on the drill against the wall. You don't want to damage the wall when this comes down all the way as far as it's supposed to. So we're going to go nice and slow. And you can see that it's almost into the wall here, but we didn't do any damage to the wall. And now we're going to take it out, and we're going to drill the other ones. Okay, so now we have our holes drilled in the wall. We're going to grab our bolts. also come with the washers, which you want to also use on the bolts. They go like this. Okay, so now after we have the holes drilled in the wall, we're going to take our bracket, we're going to bring it up on the wall like this. And it lines up with the holes that we put in. We're going to catch our bolt in here. We're just going to catch that one bolt for now, and now we're going to put the other 3 in there as well. Okay, now our bracket is mounted. This is actually able to adjust by loosening these screws, so we could tilt it a little bit to straighten it all out. So let's do that right now. Okay, and that's how you mount the bracket onto the wall. Next thing we're going to do now is we're going to take the other part of the bracket here. This actually gets attached to the TV. After it's attached to the TV, we hang the TV on here like this, and like this, and then we'll screw up the bolt on the bottom. So let's attach these to the television set, and then we're going to hang it on here. Okay, so as you can see now, the TV is hung on the wall. I will tell you this, lifting a TV this size and putting it up is not a one-person job. I had my camera girl give me a hand to set this up, so thank you, camera girl. So the TV is now on, is mounted on the bracket, but I just want to point one thing out to you. Let me just turn this so you can see. Once we have it mounted on the bracket, you can see that it just hangs right on here. These little hooks hang onto those cross arms right there. We want to make sure that the TV is centered to the center of the bracket, and then once the bracket is in the correct location, down underneath here is set screws, so that way it'll keep it from accidentally, if somebody was to bump it, it won't come flying off and fall on the ground. So it's stable now, it's not coming up, the TV will not lift up any, at all on here, and that's it. So the TV is all set, and as you know, the bracket tilts this way, like this. It pushes in, or it pulls out as far as you want it. All right, so that's it. Our TV is all set. My helper got stepped on. So the TV is all set. All right, so as far as putting the bracket on, it's a fairly easy procedure. Just make sure that when you put those lag bolts in, it's imperative that they're in the center of the beam. Otherwise, you're going to wind up with this coming off the wall. So make sure it's nice and tight. Next video I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to connect these wires into the wall so that we don't have the wires hanging down through the bottom here to the bottom over here. We're going to mount the wires in the wall. But for today, this video is done, and we're going to call it a day, and we'll come back and finish off with the wires another time. All right, as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.